morning and welcome to another Craft Roulette process video. This is for episode 164. Yep, that's correct. So we're going to do, the project type is Slimline. The colors are Tea Party. The element is word, so some kind of word. That's almost like a freebie basically. And the random is a hand-drawn line or lines. So that is what we are working on. The interesting thing is Slimline was interpreted a couple of different ways. I actually cut a mini Slimline card base, which I really like because you can cut a Slimline and the coordinating front panel out of one piece of paper, which is cool. But some people sort of saw that more as a slim line, meaning like a narrow line of some sort, which is kind of an interesting way to interpret it. Let me see. I was live streaming yesterday. Oh, here it is. So I think I'm actually going to come in and round the corners on this a bit because I really do like the two rounded corner look. Although this may be... There we go. This is the Nina 110, so it's sometimes doing a double layer of it, the punch isn't happy. But I really like this two rounded corner look. So we're going to do that for this one, and then we're going to go in with same thing, front panel. And I think that'll like soften the edges a little bit. Similar to a lot of other people, I kind of interpreted Tea Party as sort of muted colors, sort of like lace doilies and, sort of spring colors. So I pulled Serenade, which is a muted purple, and In the Park, which is green, but like a very teal-leaning green. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is grab my Misty and grab some tape and do a little bit of inking on the front of this so that we basically have a teal border. And what I'm going to do is grab a piece of painter's tape. I'm just going to get a little lint on it so it's a little less sticky. I did have an issue before with this tape actually sort of ripping the cardstock, which we'd rather not have happen. Anyway, just putting that on lightly. So, I started with a 6x6 rectangle and then just scored it at 6 inches, so you wind up with a 3x6 card when you're done. This is exactly the same dimensions we used for a couple Christmas cards because they do fit in normal envelopes. And I think as previously mentioned, like you don't actually need the ink to look perfect on this edging because as it dries, this Catherine Pooler ink tends to self-level a lot. So, and you're not actually going to see a ton of this. So really, you just want to go for whatever level of vibrancy you want. Also, if you're using a smoother card, this is Nina 110, but if you're using a smoother cardstock, potentially this is a lot easier as well because the ink will move around as opposed to the Nina's uncoated, so basically it'll sink in. But I think that's looking pretty good. This is becoming one of my newer favorite inks. Although I pretty much like the Catherine Pooler lines across the boards, but, I don't know. I think this is a nice sort of tealy green while still remaining a green. But it does seem like a color you'd see at, like, I don't know. It's almost like more of a clothing color, I think, that you'd see on, like, somebody's dress at a tea party. Anyway, so then be careful pulling the tape off. You don't rip anything, but pretty much we're good to go. And essentially this allows you to not have to use pattern paper or cardstock because once this sort of mats down, right, it's going to look very much like you started with pattern cardstock. So I will set this off to the side and just let it kind of dry. Well, it is dry, but let it dry some more. Just gonna see if I have any excess ink. Pull any excess ink off the lid of my Misty, because it's a lot nicer to do that than find out later after you get ink fingerprints all over the place. Let us have one stamp left over from the live stream yesterday. If you caught that, thank you. It was definitely a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll do another one soon. So because this is a mini slimline, you can do this however you want. But basically, I want to use this hexagonal border. This is a set I really liked from Gina K that came out recently, but I think I'm going to use the, ooh, that was a noise. The transparent, well, the open hexagons, and I'm just going to center that, and this is really perfectly sized for this type of card. So basically, we're going to stamp it once and then flip it over and do it again. My thought was we could either pull the green in that way. I think I will do that. I pulled the teal pencil because what I'm thinking is we can use one of these bigger ones. We could use one of the bigger hexagonal pieces as sort of a focal point, and then you balance that with the sentiment. But anyway, we shall see what we get to. And let me just flip my magnet over. And there we go. Can use any pressure tool you like. I'm a big fan of this maple one. You can see I'm kind of getting stuff all over the bottom, but that's fine. And you can either leave it like this. This is a little bit splotchy, but so I think I'll come in for a second go round. But you can see it on this ink as it dries out, right? The actual ink itself is going to level a bit. And I don't need to apply much pressure here because these are, see, and you'll get sort of a purple like that. And I think that'll look really good next to this green. I am liking that. Let's see, I have this at 6 and 1, just taking a look here before I flip this over. And I'm going to leave the stamp alone, but I'm going to re-ink a bit. And that's not where I want it. But that's why they have two sides to these. So this time, let's be a little more careful on our measurement. I'm just going to ground this. Actually, I have ink smudgies on this side. That is unfortunate. I think that'll be okay, though. We will cover that with the hexagon anyway, so I think we're okay. And I am going to just realign this a little bit. Make sure everything's sort of in the corner as well. Oops. That did sort of make a print that I didn't want. So we may recut this. But let's just try stamping this and see how it goes. If not, we can recut the piece. Just to see how this looks. Yeah, I'm not loving it. So I feel like we could utilize this as a border, so I'm not going to throw it out. But let's grab slightly different cardstock. But you can just recut this quickly. Basically, we just cut this at 1/4 inch shy of the original card. So that is not that. It is 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. if you were wondering. And now we have a new piece. Let's see if we can't do a little bit better before I go too nuts. I'll grab one of these, see if we can't clean off our foam a little bit. I have noticed that there's just a lot of black ink on this foam at this point, so I don't know, it may just require replacing at some point soon. Anyway, I'm going to remove the corners again, but and this looks like it was printed because it's a little, yeah, I like how that's lined up. Okay, let's do this all over again. I almost kind of like it the way it is, where it's very, if you don't double stamp it, it starts out really interesting. I'm just folding this a little bit. This is a thin cardstock, so this may be slow drying, so we should probably be a little bit careful. I don't think it's Express It, but it feels like marker paper, so be slightly more careful than I would normally be, because sometimes that takes a minute to dry. So we will grab our ink off and clean this out, and grab our big hexagon and our words and sort of figure out how we want to put that all together. I think I'll try a technique I don't do a lot, which is I think we'll do put that there. Do hello, and then there I have this also comes with a scripty font, so I think we could do sort of that. Like that, maybe? Then I'm liking this hexagon that has sort of hand-drawn lines on it. This is one of these stamps you have to be a little careful about. I think this is the flat side. I think this is the not flat side. We will just line that up. Yeah, I like how that looks a lot. So we will grab you. I think we'll do the whole thing in teal. I was thinking of doing a different color for the sentiment, but I actually really like this particular ink color. I did stain my stamp a bit. So if there is black left over in that stamp, I guess we can always go from there. We can always do pull the hexagon and then do the sentiment in black. Although it didn't seem to be an issue. This is looking really good. And we are mostly done with this card, actually. Sort of putting some things together. Clean off the ink here a little bit. And put our stamp away as this dries. So need to go back in and re-corner edge it. Also, if you have one of these stamp sets that has almost solid pieces, you can look for like the letters because those are easy to figure out which direction things are. Anyway, this is called Hexagon Fun, and it certainly is. And I like how that looks. I just need to... I'm thinking we could add some sort of an accent of hand-drawn lines onto one of these little hexagons. Let me just put our corners back. That one didn't punch very well, did it? That's better. There we go. I think we'll do is use, this is sort of a similar color, so what I'm going to just sort of do is just draw some lines. I think we'll just do that 3 times, because I am really a fan of, I don't know why, I'm a fan of 3 things with embellishments. So I like how that looks. We could actually do it on the other side to sort of counterbalance it. I think that would look good. Obviously, this isn't like massively complicated. I'm just drawing curved lines. And there we go. And I like that because it kind of brings the teal into where the purple is. We have our card base. So together, this is all going to look like that, and it looks very nice. Very Gina K, actually, because it's like, I don't know. Every time I do use her stamp sets, I always feel like everything kind of comes out clean and simple. And all we really need to do is well, maybe not wreck things, but if you prefer, of course, you can always use wet glue, which is nice, and then it gives you a little more working time, especially with one of these. And there we go. Even though we had to recut it, it's a very clean and simple card. Let me just hold it up a little so you can see this a little better. And there we go. It says hello friend. And I feel like these are very Tea Party colors. But anyway, thanks for checking it out. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have ideas or other things you'd like to see, feel free to leave them in the comments below.